Hello everyone, my name is TheMadScorpyon and welcome to another Eververse update. Now, I know if you've become accustomed to my Tuesday videos, I usually do a Reset and Eververse combined video. I'm going to separate them for this one encounter just because Eververse actually got expanded. So, if you have been on TikTok or a few of the other social medias, you might have seen slideshows of leaked details come across for various cosmetics. Some of those have actually released just now. In the case, I don't know if people have seen it, but there is a Xur set, which is just straight up a Xur ghost shell, a ship, which I guess is supposed to be more Xur than the traversal rock, and a Sparrow to accompany it, but among that there is other things that are, of course, expanded into the store. So I'm going to cover what at least is new in the store, as well as what's available in the Eververse store for Bright Dust, just so you can keep in tune with some of the new stuff. So right in the front page, like I said, there is the Xur set right next to the Chopper bundle, which I guess is supposed to be a bundle that makes everything look like a classic Apache attack copter, which of course Eververse had to do that thing where it just really struggles to load anything right as I turn the camera on. Alright, now that it actually loaded, the Sparrow is actually looking a little bit more like an Osprey in comparison now that I actually see it. It is a little bit awkward now that I do see it, but I do see the resemblance and how it could be a little bit lethal looking. And the jump ship is actually a just straight up Apache practically looking at it. Well, it doesn't have a nose cannon. It does look like it has, well, it has rails for a rocket, but otherwise it's just a ship that looks like a chopper without blades. But speaking of blades though, the ghost shell in comparison actually does have spinning blades and does look like a little UAV in comparison. So if you want a little bit of a classic military look to your set, you do have those options. But then moving throughout the store, I don't know exactly if they added a lot more of the emotes and variety because I haven't exactly been paying attention, but those do seem to be a bit of a preview of details. But moving forward, there is, of course, like individual versions of everything else, but getting into the rest of the things close down the line, we did have one or two things get added. For Microcosm, we have the Vast Expanse, which is basically Microcosm, but more. It's a little bit more gilded. I think this is, honestly looking at it, this might just be a little bit more Xur inspired as well, just considering all the jewelry and what looks to be 9 coins that are hanging right there, kind of. But, you know, it's just a nicer little microcosm if you so wanted. Then they also had the Dubito Ergo Cotigo, or Cogito, or however that is said, which is Ergo Sum's basically a exotic ornament, which almost doesn't change it really. It's mostly just the hilt, which just kind of looks a little bit more light overgrown, if that phrase could be used correctly there. And then we also have the Lost Heir for Buried Bloodlines, which is basically Galahorn but Buried Bloodlines, which it looks pretty good, not gonna lie, but Buried Bloodlines on its own kind of already has a very clean and sleek look for me. It's got to be a little bit different. Yes, it does look good. I just don't think this one is personally for me. But that is pretty much all in terms of the new ornaments. Now, they didn't add any more exotic ornaments for armor, unfortunately, so if you are expecting something more, sadly, there is nothing except for what came this season so far, so apologies for that. But on that same note, it is a small refresh, so just to keep in mind, keep that in mind. I imagine we'll get a little bit more with Solstice, as well as a variety with the Act 3, but some of it might be story relevant, so expect changes with that. But moving on from what is new, we also have what is in the Bright Dust store. On the front page, we have Abyssinian Gold, which is a shader that is pretty much, well, it's going to be hard to actually comparing with the Chroma Cloak set, but it is a little bit darker in comparison to most. And then we also have Rustberry, which I think I mentioned this in the last video. It doesn't really come across here, but this is perfect for a Wild West leather style armor look if you wanted it to be brand new and clean. I know a lot of times people want to make a Wild West look that is a bit dirty, but if you ever wanted to make one that is clean, Rustberry is a good option, especially for hunters. Then we also have a Ghost Projection, which is no entry, in case you just wanted to keep people out and gatekeep. Although, again, it's a Ghost Projection, who really wants them. We also have the Brilliant Idea emote from Season of the Plunder, which, if you can guess, you have an idea. But that's literally it. Moving next, we have the Sweeper Simulant, which is the Street Sweeper Sparrow, all the way back from Season of the Defiance, if I'm right. Yeah, I think that's the name. Which is, again, it is a Street Sweeper Sparrow, in case you just wanted to look a little bit more urban. Moving into the main store, though, for shaders, we have Butter Bark, which is one of those weird ones where it makes your armor wood, but also it makes it look weird, if I'm honest. Then Jacarina, which is one of those cleaner shaders. It's lots of blacks and whites with a hint of blues everywhere. Clean look. It works on almost every single gun I've tried it on. And armor-wise, it's a little bit wonky, but there seems to be a lot more black and white than blue. You also have Seven Sisters from Season of Keitel, Season of the Chosen, which, if I had to guess if there was a theme, it would be Keitel, but at the same time, it doesn't really look Keitel-ish, so it's hard to say. That's just what it kind of ended up looking like. And Cursed Azure from Season of Plunder, which this is basically just a silver goldish pirate look. It looks best on the weapons from this season, though, if I'm honest. Moving into transmats, we have the Cabal Arrival, which is all the way from the Year 1 vanilla of Destiny, basically drop pod transmat. The Heartbreaking Entrance, returning from one of those many old Crimson days. The Ghost Purple, which is a blue rarity transmat that got redone into, literally just into purple. And for some of our big ticket items, you have Incorporeal Cat, which is you petting a STARCAT, which I feel like this is the thing that everyone will need to remember is here now, which, as a matter of fact, I am going to make sure that I tell all of my Discord mates about this one, just to be sure. And we also have the Quick Cardio emote, which is just you running in place on a treadmill, which is a little bit worse than you running in place from the serial killer that isn't there from the Halloween event. Be sure to pick that up when it comes back around. For another Sparrow, we have the Bright Nostalgia, which when it loads, it looks like a basic Sparrow's toy for the average Fisher-Price kid nowadays, or it will decide not to load. May just let you all imagine what this one looks like. And moving on, we then have the Exoplanet Harvester, which is one of those ones that looks like it would be perfect for Deep Rock Galactic, or actually, now that I look at the claw more, it also looks like it would be a good tree mulcher. So, maybe good for harvesting the wood in the forest. But, you know, it's still a pretty neat looking ship in the ideas of theme. And we have the Photoelectric Shell, which is basically Tron, but red, in that set from Season of the Wish that was Tron-esque, but not really Tron. There's no better way to really describe it. It's futuristic Tron look. And we also have the Arenas SG-1, which is, if I'm saying that right, the Conditional Finality ornament from Season of the Deep that was basically a retro-branded Amalon look, which personally I think does look a little bit worse than base, but I do know some people prefer it just because it is sleeker lines and squares as opposed to the weird swooshy Lightborn look, if there's any way to say how Conditional Finality looked. Aside from that, lastly, as always, we have the Flamingo projection, which is another ghost projection we can all ignore. But from that point, that has been the refresh of the Eververse store. It is a bit light. It was literally ornaments and a few extra cosmetic packs. Although I expected we might see more with Act 3, I imagine it will be similarly light with just a few ornaments, maybe into some more Sparrows, jump ships, maybe a shader or two, but that's all I can really say for now. With that, my name is TheMadScorpyon. I will see you in the next video.